Hi, everyone. From classroom fear to courage strong, where words felt trapped, where blocks lived long, a pilot's dream, the open sky, yet silent battles passed him by. He tried the tools, the tricks, the fight, chased fluent days and restless nights, but strength appeared when he stepped through, not beat the fear, but build life new. At last he found his steady tone, a voice no longer caged or prone. Ron stands today clear, calm, and free. Proof change can come at any age you see. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Ron.
So hi,
Wow,
Ron. Welcome.
I love that.
I'm glad. It was a
Oh,
little
good.
bit longer. I know that I was boring, but you will forgive
Not at
me.
all. That's great.
Okay. Hi, Pavandeep. How are you?
Hi. Hi, Milos. Hello, Ron.
Hello.
It's definite. We are very, very happy to have you here. Uh, this will definitely be a learning for us from you for sure. And hi guys, how are you all doing? We are back again with a new guest and our host for today, Milos, will be saying who he is. So Milos, all
Yeah.
over.
Thank you, Pavandeep. I am not a host. I'm co-host together with Pavandeep, and
Co-host.
I'm very thankful for his support in this Unblock Your Stutter podcasts. Uh, Through different blockages, he pulled me through. So there are some history of friendship here. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So we kind of experienced Pavandip on your side a little internet issues, at least me.
Yeah. Okay.
So can you Ron confirm that is true or
Yeah, I think I am also seeing that my screen is hanging. Maybe just give me a second, okay?
yeah, yeah. I will pause the recording until then. So, hi, Ron, again. Welcome to the show. And so, one of the my main questions that I had while reading that long bio on StopStutter website, which is very descriptive, and I think a lot of people appreciate it, is when you think, let's say, back to reading aloud in school. What emotions come up even now uh, once you resolved this stammering issue, let's say. When you do the comparative, let's say, um, this description of two, two time frame, then and now, what comes to your mind?
Well, an interesting question. I mean, that was a long, long time ago. And the older I get, I'd have to say the fewer details I remember, when I was really young. But that was probably the first or second grade. And while I can hardly remember very many things about being that age, I can still remember that it was traumatic for me in that I remember laying on my bed with my mother, just crying to her and saying, "Why is this happening to me?" I mean, I was an excellent reader, a great student, but reading out loud in the classroom when you go around the room awaiting my turn, I mean, it was
Mm,
really, really difficult. And if I had to look back, I probably would say I felt maybe trapped and
yeah.
frustrated and all those things. And now, all these years later, I mean, I just feel liberated and free if I
We
had to
can
compare the two.
we can
Mm-hmm.
completely resonate with feeling of being trapped by stammer. I think that's maybe the strongest description of that state.
Right. So, Ron, may I just go like a one step back or one frame back from where you were right now? So, can you tell us the moment you feel that your stuttering began, or what was the what was the source of it, or when do you think your stuttering started?
I know some people can point to an event or something that happened. I really
Hmm.
can't do that. In fact, I asked my father, who's still alive, when I saw
Okay.
him recently, and he couldn't either. But I'm
Mm.
sure I stuttered before my earliest memory of the classroom. But that's really the earliest remembrance that I have.
Okay.
So, when you were there in the classroom and you mentioned that reading aloud with your friends or your classmates was a challenge or becoming a big challenge for you. So, was it due to bullying, or were there friends whom you feared? Because I think most of the stutterers, they have that fear in them that if I go out and I talk in front of, say, person A or person B, I will stammer, or I will get blocked. So was it there within you?
Again, this is so far back, it's hard to remember specifically. I I really never remember being teased or bullied about my stuttering. Now, maybe it
Okay.
happened, and maybe
Hmm.
I'm just blocking it out, or maybe it did
Right.
happen. I don't
Mm,
know. But I still had a lot of friends. I was still pretty outgoing. I
mm.
mean,
Hmm.
I'm sure it held me back, but I don't remember that being a big thing then.
So basically, you don't think while being a child that stuttering said something bad about you personally. Do you do you remember that maybe?
I, to me, I think it was more just frustrating. Just,
Frustrating.
I wanted
Mm.
to talk. I wanted to talk about a
Yeah.
movie that I would go see with friends and come home and try to tell my parents about it or things like that.
Yeah.
And, when you can't get the words out and you block, it was just, "Ugh, this is so
Mm.
frustrating." So I think that's what it was more for me.
Okay.
So when was the time? Because I believe that uh, the time frame that you are mentioning is somewhere close to 1980s or 90s,
'60s,
probably even before that. Yeah,
'60s, yes,
1960s.
yes.
So, like right now, we have these YouTube videos to go to basically learn about talking slowly, extreme pronunciation, etc. Did you have any such thing or books to actually go back to back then?
You know, that's that's a really good point. We have so much now that we didn't have back then. I mean, my stuttering therapy I had in elementary school was, well, first of all, I didn't know anyone else who stuttered. So I might have thought I was the only one in the world
Oh,
when I was
Yeah.
little, and I
no,
had
no,
no other frame of reference. My
no. Right.
stuttering therapy was, have you ever seen the old reel-to-reel tape recorders? Well,
Yes.
that's my therapy was reading into one of those for like half hour uh, once a week in school. And of course, that did zero
which is
for
too
me.
little. Yeah.
It did nothing for me. But even through, elementary, through junior high, high school, um, there was really nothing out there. I didn't have any
Right.
resources. I didn't know where to go. I mean, I sort of had the thought when I was in high school that maybe when I went to college, I mean, they're probably going to know a lot more about stuttering. Um,
Right.
maybe we tried to look for therapists where I lived, but I don't think I had any in like junior high or high school. Where I lived was uh, Northern California, and our
Okay.
town was relatively small. So it wasn't like I was in a big city, with a lot of resources. But I thought, boy, when I go away to college, I mean, I'm sure they're going to really have the answer for me, and
Yeah.
that's what I was kind of
Mm.
hanging on. But the technology side, I think it's tremendous. I mean, the YouTube
Yes.
videos, the practice sessions that we can
Right.
all
Daily
attend, the
ones.
Zoom calls.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's awesome. And I think that's a big key to improving our stuttering.
I
Right. Millions.
totally can confirm that to be true. I also basically I'm coming from Serbia, from one small town, Subotica, where I went only to one speech therapist before, I guess, high school. Then I reached some serious speech therapy. But before that, I also thought that maybe there are two or three like me. But
Yes,
now it's a much wider world.
yes.
One question, Rod. You tried many therapies and devices over the year. You even said that you tried DAF speech device, which is delayed auditory feedback for the viewers that do not know. And maybe I haven't yet mentioned, but I have also tried a Speech Easy device, which is also the DAF
Similar.
effect.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Can you mention what do you appreciate still, let's say, what those therapies or devices did for you, or do you consider them to be the fake ones?
You know, I think the people who developed them, I mentioned the Edinburgh Master, which was a really old device, but you'd wear this collar thing around your neck with a microphone and earphones, and it would blast this loud buzz when you would talk. And when you can't hear yourself talk, you stutter. I didn't stutter at all. You stutter less, but it was so annoying that I couldn't deal with it. To some extent, the DAF is the same way. I think it works, it has its place, but it didn't really help me. One of my situations I was in was that I could be fluent often. When I went to therapy, I never stuttered. None of my therapists ever saw me stutter. So they thought I was doing great. And then I'd go out into the real world and I get into a situation, maybe some extra pressure that was hard for me. And I'd block and I grimace. I would do all kinds of stuff. My breathing would get all out of whack and I'd be exhausted, but they would never see that.
And
So
Yeah.
how confusing and discouraging was that to you? As
very,
far as yeah.
it was very discouraging. Sometimes I would record myself to try, and it was hard for me to listen back to myself how bad I was, but just so they could hear me do something. So I would say those devices I think can help. Um, but they aren't long-term solutions, and they weren't
Mhm.
for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
correct.
agree.
I think most of us have tried so many different things now that it's very important to know that you have to work on your mindset first, I think, before following any gadget or using any gadget or using any method to become fluent. So, while while you were using gadgets and you were speaking well, but then when you were going out, you were not. That's a very common problem. Uh, so which aspect did you think at that moment of time had to be changed, and how did you change that? That how did you transform your speech when you went out?
You know, back then, I really didn't know how. I mean,
Okay.
I tried different things. I think I can't remember different things I would try to do, or therapists would teach me like hold my hand a certain way or give myself some kind of a cue or a reminder, like,
Okay.
okay, remember your techniques, remember to do that. But I would find that almost always, once I got, maybe I could start well, but within a pretty short time, whatever I was practicing would just go out the window, and I couldn't do it. Now I realize it was two things. One was the lack of not doing mind training, and I think
Yep.
the other thing was over practicing. I was not over practicing. And while I'm very grateful
May I?
that my stuttering wasn't severe, that it was
Okay.
situational a lot of times, that was also kind of um, a disadvantage because I didn't have to use any techniques when I was around my family. You know, once I got older, um, that I didn't have to use anything I learned. So I got lazy and didn't think I needed it, or I just practiced a little bit. And then I go out into the real world where I needed it, and I hadn't practiced it enough to be able to use it.
And
May
then,
I? May I? So
yeah,
when you say about over practicing, uh, how many hours do you suggest for people who want to improve their speech? So, for example, people stay awake 14 to 16 hours a day. So, what do you mean by that term over practice?
Well, I think the bottom line, first, without getting into, like how much time, an hour, 2, 3, 4 hours, I think the key is this. If you have this kind of mindset, and this really hasn't come to me until recently, actually. I wish I would have learned this a long time ago because I could have done better earlier. Is that, like when we see a professional athlete, soccer, football, baseball, basketball, anything, and we see them out performing in front of thousands of people and on television and under all this pressure, and they're shooting goals and making baskets, and just everything they're doing. I mean, it's not like they just took a few practice kicks, shot a few baskets, and now they're out there able to perform at that level without even thinking about it. They practiced their shots thousands of times when they didn't need to, when there was zero pressure on them, over and over, until it's just a habit, until, muscle memory and everything.
Right.
we have a saying in Serbian languages that repetition is mother of knowledge. And I
Hmm.
think it is true for every skill, even speaking. One
Yeah,
thing,
so oh, just let me finish that thought. So when it comes to stuttering, then we
Mhm.
think often, okay, I'm going to practice. I've stuttered all my life. I'm going to use whatever tool or crutch or speech plan I have for
Yeah.
5 minutes a day, and then I'm going to go out into the world and I can use it. You aren't going to be able to do that. So what I mean
Yes.
by over practicing is like for me, I like short stops like I'm using now. It's a speech plan that works for me. So when I read out loud, I do it constantly. When I'm talking to my wife, I'm doing it constantly. I don't need to, but I'm doing it. I find I'm a fast reader, and I'm finding even when I'm reading a story, not out loud, I'm reading it in short stops. So it's
Nice.
just kind of the mindset that I've developed just in a couple of months that has allowed
Nice.
me to do that and transfer into the real
Nice.
world.
Milos.
so
Milos.
yeah, one touching moment from your bio, Ron, which I saw was the way you went on a first date with your wife, uh, mentioning that she didn't even knew where you were going because your stuttering was, I guess, really bad, and but she has accepted you as you are. What does that acceptance means to you? And let's say, what would be the message to our viewers that have stammering, and let's say their parents, children, spouses, whatever.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, finding someone who accepts you for who you are. And I've always been very I'm very grateful that everyone in my life has been accepting of me. They really have. I hear other people's stories about how maybe their mother or their father or someone wasn't accepting of them or kind of look down on them or tell them why can't you talk or just add even more pressure. And I
Yes,
feel
there are many of them.
really bad for those people. I fortunately I never had that. And my wife was always very accepting of me. In
Okay.
fact, she would
So, mm,
sometimes when I would, before I became fluent, we'd be somewhere and I'd start talking in a group like I would sometimes do, and I'd get too fast and I start blocking and try to push the words out. She would accept me by kicking me under the table and saying, like her way of saying, knock it off. You can do better than that. Stop
Yeah.
and start again.
yeah. Yes.
That's
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, I think uh, support like that is needed, I think,
Very much
because
so.
uh, even though we try to follow everything, but then we start to again make mistakes. Support, which is a strong support, that is needed. So you mentioned, or when we read your bio, so you used to also teach pilots flying,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And as we know that flying is a very difficult job for sure, because you have to make those uh steps, or you have to take those steps in like milliseconds, right?
Yes.
So so when you are in that sort of a situation in which you have to decide something in milliseconds, or probably teach someone to take a decision in those milliseconds, were there any problems that occurred with respect to your stuttering? And if yes, how did you uh, try to like cope with those issues?
That's a really good question. I really didn't think about it at the time, why it would happen that like you said, sometimes you have to say
Yeah.
something quickly or correct
Yeah.
someone quickly or respond to a radio call quickly.
Yeah.
Is that looking back, I think I understand now that because I wasn't thinking about stuttering, I was just thinking about saying what I had to say at the moment. I don't think I stuttered that often because
Mm.
I didn't have time to think about a feared word or to think
Mm.
about the words. I was thinking about content, what I have to say this, and I didn't have time to think about it. When I
Mm.
would be with students, I did stutter some, but it would be interesting in the plane that the student um, would be trying to fly and they're concentrating so much. And I
Right.
am trying to walk them through, teach them, say how to do different maneuvers and things like that. But I could stutter and sometimes block and grimace and make faces, but I could force the words out, but they weren't
Right.
looking at me. They were so focused on flying
Right.
that
Right.
they weren't looking at me. It's not like they could see me. But
So we are
Right.
fortunately, I was always able to push through blocks fairly quickly. So it
Yeah.
wasn't that big.
so we are coming to old conclusion. Yeah, and that is mindset. Like
Mhm.
if you focus on idea and message, your speech will be more fluent
Yes.
than if you focus on the way you will pronounce a word or will I stammer there, will I block
Yeah.
there, right?
Exactly. Very much
Yeah.
so. Very much
Yep.
so.
So one thing that I had to like to shake my head, I was like intrigued by that in your bio. You choose you basically choose to be at sales
Yeah.
one a point of your time, but
Yes.
I'm not sure whether it was before or after you avoided some talking whatever. But what made you go for uh, a sale, and did that teach you um, something?
Yeah. I learned things good and bad. um, I was really ambitious. I know some of the top um, people who earn the most money are good salespeople. And I think
Yeah.
part of it was my mindset, the challenge. I can do this. I'm going to force my way through this. I read books. I tried mindset. I did everything,
Yes.
but it was still so difficult. I mean, sales is hard for anyone. I mean, you asked, 100 people to be salespeople, probably only 5, 10% would say, yeah, I'll even try it because it is hard. There's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure and salesmanship. And so when I tried to do it in real estate and in some businesses I had, it was really difficult uh, making cold calls, picking up the telephone, talking to strangers who didn't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
It was just forcing yourself to do it. And I could do it for a little while, but after making like supposed to make 50 calls a day, maybe after 10, I'd be exhausted. I just couldn't do it anymore. But you know what was
Yeah.
Totally feeling.
interesting? Even people who didn't stutter, they're the same way. After
Correct.
X amount of calls, they couldn't do it either. It was mentally and emotionally exhausting for them too. So
Because
while
Right.
you have to present a picture, a perfect version, right,
you
of
do,
yourself, of the
Yes.
product, and
you do,
Yes.
and in my head, I would tell them they really don't want to talk to me. They're busy. I'm
Mm.
bothering them. I mean, why would
Mhm.
they listen to me? On top of,
Yeah.
am I going to stutter? Oh no, there's that feared word coming. And maybe it's the name of the product. So I get to the point
Yeah.
where the product I couldn't say it. I mean, oh, holy cow. We would have literally starved if I would have stayed in sales. But it did teach me to, I guess, just try to be strong in no matter what I
Yes.
did. But it also taught me I don't have to face the hardest thing in the world for me every day to be successful. And that's kind of
Oh,
what I thought at that time.
Mhm. And
mm,
just a small side
interesting.
note, my father is also a salesman, so I know how
Yeah.
difficult that job can be. Okay, I
Yes.
found it.
And yeah, yeah, I think definitely, especially for people who stutter or who have stuttered, for them, sales is like impossible job to do. So really well done, Ron. Yeah, with that, I would like to move forward a bit to your experience with WSSA. So when did you when did you first know about it, and how did you start practicing? Or at that point of time, what do you think your fluency level was, and how did you start to practice, and what all things you did? So this is my question to you.
Okay, going back a little bit, I had taken some therapies that had helped me. The most important one was fluency shaping program that I did. It was still hard for me to transfer it into the real world all the time, but it did help me get my speech to the point that in less pressure situation, I was basically fluent. And then when I retired, I didn't have the pressure of business and work and having to prove myself or anything like that. So that made it easier too. So I was
Mm,
pretty comfortable with myself, but stuttering was still there. It would show itself maybe at church when I was in a group or in a classroom and I want to answer a question or teach a class. Stuttering was always there, kind of out there. Am I going to block on a word or, oh no,
mm,
here comes the word? I have to teach a class. So for a week ahead, I'd be thinking about it and practicing a little bit. So other than those situations, though, I was pretty comfortable. And so I got an email one day. I don't remember why, because I wasn't thinking therapy, speech therapy at all. But I got an email saying, if you want to see what the latest techniques are in stuttering therapy, going to have a free series of Zoom meetings or something. And I thought,
okay.
well, it's been a long time. Why don't I
Mm,
see what's going on in the world of
Yeah, yeah.
stuttering? But I didn't
mm,
expect anything from it really. But there's this little
mhm,
voice saying, boy, what if you didn't have to think about it anymore? Well, as it turns
mm,
out, long story short, one of the people that I saw on a video, he wasn't even a presenter or anything. He was just watching it. He asked a question, and it was someone we all know now, the singer-songwriter Noah. And he talked
okay.
about how badly he used to stutter and how much better he was then. And that really caught my attention because
Yeah.
he sounded really good. And he mentioned Lee Lovett. I think that's about all he said, but that got me to thinking, who is this Lee Lovett guy? And I started doing some searches and I found
Okay.
it. And I thought, wow, this looks pretty interesting. And what
Mm,
really intrigued me was when I'd see some of the videos from people, some of the before and afters, and some of the success stories. And that really caught my attention because I've been around a long time and I've seen a lot of stuttering therapies to where someone would be fluent right after, and they would then they'd do a video or something, but you see them a month or 2 or 3 later, and they were just like they were before.
It goes down the
Exactly.
slope. Yeah.
But
Yes,
this didn't seem to be happening. So that caught
Yeah.
my attention. But then I thought, hey, I'm retired. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I'm not trying to prove anything. My stutter's not
absolutely.
bad. Why should I worry about it? And then I thought, wait a minute, wouldn't it be nice to not have to stutter anymore, even in those
Yeah.
situations that aren't that often? And then I
Mm.
thought, at your age, can you really change after you've tried so many different things? But it was just the idea that, hey, this really might work. So why not try it? That kind of gave me the incentive to give it a try. Do you want to ask me something else, or do you want me to say how I got started and what's helped me the
Yeah,
most?
yeah. So we are coming to
Yeah.
that, and the one thing that Coach Lee
It's
said
inspiring.
in his video with Antonio, that he feels that he's crazy Bermuda guy. But I think that's completely not true. I think that his techniques really make sense, not just
Sense.
techniques,
Yeah.
crutches, speech plan. So, Ron, hearing that stuttering is a habit, what was your initial reaction to that idea?
You know, I always had the belief myself that it was mechanical because
Likewise. Yeah.
I never wanted to believe it was something wrong with me, like something wrong with my psychology, something. I thought I'm okay. It's physical. But hearing him say that and so I would resist therapies that would say, "Hey, it's just in your head, or stutter easier or things like that. Stutter on purpose. I never wanted to do that. It's mechanical. I can overcome this. But
Hmm.
hearing that to say stuttering's a habit, it really resonated me because I thought, wait a minute, if this was mechanical, why can I talk sometimes and not other times? If it was mechanical, I couldn't talk any of the time. So that,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
I thought, wait a minute, it must be a habit that I've learned over the years. And it's so deep. And
Ingrained.
it made sense because um, when I was 65, I learned how to play the banjo, picked up an instrument I never played before. I'm not musical, but I believe in that neuroplasticity that we're never too old to learn. Our brain can keep learning. So I thought, hey, if this is a bad habit, I can overcome that habit. And so the the three process, the mind training, the crutches, the reading out loud. I mean, that looked like the whole package to me. And so
Just
that's what
just ready.
separated it.
Interesting.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
Yeah.
package just
the
ready
whole
to be
package.
opened.
And I realized when I heard the three different things, because I had done some reading in the past. But of course, I never over practiced. I'd read for 10 minutes and get bored, say, yeah, okay, I go on. And then I think, gee, why can't I
Yeah.
use this in the real world? Well,
Yes.
now it made sense to me now. I've done affirmations in the past, like in sales
Mm.
and different things, or even speaking. I'm a fluent speaker when I'm talking to people, but I maybe do that 5 times, every
Yeah.
third day. I,
Yeah,
so I
Yes.
never did at the level that I learned from Coach Lee in the StopStutter program. And,
Yeah.
and that's made a huge difference. The reading out loud, to me, for me, the affirmations, mind training is crucial, but I don't think you're going to see results right away. You don't see you don't do affirmations 20 times and then go out and you see an immediate effect, at least not for
Yeah.
me. You got to do that day after day after day, and then you do.
Correct.
But for
Correct.
me, the reading out loud, it was huge for me to read like in for an hour a day or,
Mm,
half hour a day, 3 times a day, things like
mm,
that. So while
Ver
I did the mind training every day, like it's taught, I did the reading out loud. Fortunately, I only had to use like one crutch or two ever when
mhm.
I started. So unfortunately, I didn't need them all, but I came up with this kind of a speech plan of the short stops, like I'm doing now, the extreme pronunciation, which I like, the speaking with passion. I love reading out loud. That worked for me right away. And I'd have to say, from the day I started the program, I have never stuttered. It's been 3 months now.
Wonderful.
Now, I mean, that's unusual. I wasn't that severe, but I would never have been able to do that before. The one time I thought a block was coming, I was able to stop myself, reset,
Nice.
use a crutch, and go through it. I thought, wow, I have never
Yeah.
been able to do that before. And that was
Yeah,
Mm,
so
yeah.
empowering to me. And that just reduced the fear, the anxiety, everything, and just gave me the
Practice
confidence.
makes perfect. And
Practice. And I
yeah.
told myself when I got started in this program, I'm going to jump in both feet for 90 days and do everything I was told, no matter it seemed boring or unnecessary, I'm going to do it.
Mm,
And that's basically what I've done.
yeah, the
yeah.
same situation is more or less with me. I'm very satisfied with the program,
All
and I
all of us,
managed,
I think.
yeah, yeah, and I managed to acquire the 30 days without incident. I had a little small relapse, but I managed to get up again, and now I
Right.
have a smooth speech again. But what I'm saying, like, what would be, let's say, message to our viewers that are listening for those that, let's say, and now, to be honest with you, Ron, I heard you also mentioning that, but like more in passing, let's say to the viewers that feel that they are uh, either too old or too tired or too discouraged to try again.
Uh,
Well,
just
yeah,
Ron, just before you, sorry. So
yeah, go ahead.
just before you answer Milos's question, just one thing. So I think your answer back there, I think it joined the dots. I think when you mentioned about the habit, and when you also mentioned about the term over practicing. So
Absolutely.
you try to, with that over practice, you try to overturn your old habit. So I think that is the gist of your uh saying basically. Yeah, please, Ron, go on.
Yeah, if you want to be able to speak fluently or use your speech plan, use your techniques, whatever you learn in out in
Yes.
the real world, you've got to practice it when you don't need it. You've got to
Yeah.
practice it all the time because that's the only way you'll ever be able to use it in the real world and go up the speech ladder of difficulty, like
Mm.
we talked about it. Um, Getting back to Milos, what you were asking, I think I'd have to say it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how long you've stuttered. It doesn't matter how long you've tried, how many therapies. Um, if you get the right one, and for me, this is the one, Stop Stutter, Lee, love it after everything I've done, then you have got to just jump in it and just be totally passionate about it if you
Mm.
want to really have success. I mean, I've stuttered 70 years, but it doesn't matter if you've stuttered 10 years or 20 years. That's a long time. And
I agree.
you are never going to be able to break that habit unless you really over practice, like we've talked about, to be able to
Mhm.
decrease that bad habit, increase, the good habit to where, I still think about, short stops and over pronunciation, but because of the affirmations, my confidence is up, my fear level's down, um, and I don't need to use
True
the
indeed.
other crutches anymore because
Yeah.
I've gotten so used to it. It's such a habit for me now.
Mhm. Okay.
Nice. Yes, Milos, please.
We have 5 minutes left as
Yeah,
scheduled with our special guest, Ron. And we very,
we can probably, yeah, we can probably sneak in one question. Five
yeah, I
minutes.
mean, yeah, yeah. Okay, Pawandeep, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think that the the words that the words that you are speaking, they actually speak about the overall experience that you have, which is huge. That is why we actually want to ask you more things. So probably due to lack of time, this is my last question to you, which is that one thing that you feel that every person who stutters has to work on every day of their life.
Hmm.
What is that one
Great
point?
question. Does it have to be just one? I'll keep it short, okay?
Yeah, please,
Um,
please, please. Yeah. Go
One,
ahead.
just mind training is crucial, absolutely crucial. That's
Hmm.
what lets you,
I agree.
that's what's working with you on the inside without you having to, like do it on the outside. That's changing you from the inside. Reading out loud, that's changing you on the outside. The
Hmm.
crutches are awesome because I was sort of taught that crutches are bad. You don't want to use crutches. You want to just face it head on. But when Coach Lee said, think about this, when you break your leg and you use a crutch, are you being weak? Is there something wrong with
Exactly.
you?
Yeah.
No, you're just giving your leg
Yes.
time to heal. It makes perfect
Yes.
sense. And
Hmm.
crutches are temporary. Use whatever level of crutches you need to use to be fluent and not hear yourself or stutter.
They are
Then
Hmm.
named
you won't
crutches for a reason.
then you won't have to use them anymore in time. And I guess the last thing is, sorry, this is 4 or 5. The last thing is stop worrying about what everybody thinks about you. They aren't thinking about you. They have their
Yes.
own insecurities. They're worried about themselves to be worried about you. And so
Great
Most
we
of
point.
the
think
time.
we
Yeah.
think
Great point.
everyone's worried about us or judging us. They aren't. They have their own insecurities. So,
Yeah.
Great point.
So Ron,
Great point.
we have one tradition here at Unblock Your Stutter podcast, and that is previous guest is asking the next guest question. Our previous guest was Patricia, and she thought Danny would come to the show. But let's say the same question can apply to you. Uh, if you could tell your 15-year-old self a question, what would that question be? I mean, not the question, but the
right,
message.
message.
Yeah.
Well, I have to go back to the last thing I said is stop worrying about other people, about how much they judge you. I want to be like Yassine, who's just turned 14, and he doesn't seem to care what other people
He's
think about
carefree.
him. He's carefree, he's courageous, he faces everything. And that's what I would tell myself. That stop worrying about other people, just go out and do it, and you'll have more success in life.
Wonderful.
Man,
And then
that's wonderful.
for our next guest, I think it will be either Danny or Coach Lee himself.
Whoa,
We still don't have that confirmation, but there is something in planning.
the big guy,
What
huh?
would,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
the main man.
Well,
Yeah, no
I'd
mean
say
man.
either Danny or Coach Lee would be really good at this question. Um, what's some of the biggest things that you've seen hold people back when they
Oh,
get started on
excellent.
this program? What holds them
Uh,
back, and what can they do to overcome that?
Really a good
Thank
question.
you.
Pavan, do you
Thank
have some
you.
closing words, statement?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I think this is coming from the bottom of my heart, really. This has been, I think, one of the best podcasts which
I
we have
agree.
had, I think. I
So
think
deep.
Thank
I
you.
think you have, Ron, spoken from your experiences in the past, and your knowledge is simply vast, especially in this subject. I have learned a lot. I'm sure the viewers will also learn from your words.
I have
I
definitely.
and we hope to see you again here. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would love to come back anytime. I'll try to think of some new stories or something, or be
Yeah,
more
Thank
entertaining.
you.
we are always ready to receive you again to the show, and we much appreciate you being a guest, Ron. You are, let's say, knowledge well,
Yeah.
and that's it. No more words, and thank you, listeners, for watching, and hope to see you next time. Okay,
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
see
guys.
you
Thank you.
guys. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See
Bye
you.
bye. See you. Bye bye.